Okay, outside Old Trafford, team news has dropped. United making changes again. Shaw comes back in, Maguire keeps his place, McTominay and Sabitzer in. Casemiro is injured as we know, but Fred doesn't make it. Anthony's back on the bench from his illness. Sancho gets a chance up front on the right hand side next to Weghorst and Rashford, Bruno behind them. But the big news probably is the Maguire. You'd expect Varane to be in, but he is injured. I thought it might be. We just had to double check it there then, because he's out of international duty now. He didn't play against Betis, so he's fully rested. He should be playing today, but isn't in the team, so that is why. Thank God he retired from French and international football, because he's now got 3 weeks to break, get over this injury and be fully rested for Newcastle when we come back. This is a big day for United today. I said it in my road trip on the United stand. You've got to look at this and go, we're going to the break here either sitting on a defeat and a bad result against Liverpool the other week for 2 weeks, feeling miserable, coming back in a more negative vibe against Newcastle, or we're into a semi-final, quarter-final after what we did with Betis in the week. We're all right in the league, we're still third going into international break, with games in hand, it's a positive vibe coming back. That's why this day is so big. And we get to go to Wembley again if we win.
Cup 6th round. Please welcome Fulham and Manchester United.
So 0-0 half time, pretty much as you'd expect after the Lord Mayor show. Obviously in Europe in the week, it's coming back from that, it's tiredness, it's the fact that Fulham have had a full week preparation, like I said at the start, they're fresh, they look sharper. But in the end, I think United probably create the better chances, we're the more dangerous team, and I think as the game grew, I reckon around about the half an hour mark, United became a bit more competitive in the midfield, and Fulham not really threatened. Speculative header over the top that he tipped over the bar early doors, and Fulham really, apart from putting a few crosses in the box, have done nothing, and they're probably the ones that are disappointed. I know there's a lot of moans and groans here in Old Trafford right now. Everyone expects football to be this swashbuckling style, marauding forward every single week. It doesn't work like that. You've got to grind out these results, you've got to find a way of winning these games in the middle of doing what I just said, which is playing 2 games, 3 games a week, tired, changing the team constantly. I mean, to be honest, if you think that last season we played 50 games and we're about 4 or 5 away from that now, at this stage of the season, shows you how many games and how we've been, how competitive we have been this season. So just give it a chance and let's see what they bring in the second half. I still think United are the better team. Buy a ticket, you might get lucky. Wow, that was a game that needed something to happen. It needed intervention, it needed something, because United were a bit flat. We expected them to be flat. I think I remember saying at half time that, you know what, I expected the game to be this way. I expected United to be a bit lacklustre. I mean, we've played nearly double the games that Fulham have played this season. When you're fighting on all fronts, all these competitions, you can't expect it to be marauding football going forward, brilliant. You're going to be changing the team, there's going to be players coming in that are not used to the system, we're going to be tired, the other teams had a full week to prepare. That's what you've got to expect. You've got to grind out and find ways to win games. Now when it comes to the red cards and what happened in that 5-minute spell, let's look to how that came about. Let's look to what Ten Hag did first in bringing McTominay off and bringing Anthony on, who changed the game. The ball from Bruno to Anthony, perfect. Then that ball from Anthony to Sancho, absolutely on the money. And then Willian gets a deliberate handball, red card. if that goes in, it's 1-1. United still got the momentum, so you can say in effect Fulham were a bit unlucky, but United still undid them there. A bit of quality when Anthony came on changed that game. Ten Hag has got to take credit for that win again when you look at it that way, because we were flat. Bruno, nerves of steel, puts the penalty away, and then the goal from Sabitzer straight after that, pretty much game over, done and dusted. But I mean, Fulham there, I mean, the singing going to Wembley. I mean, if you can't fill a Premier League allocation when you get more for an FA Cup, you don't deserve to be at Wembley. That was pathetic from them for a turnout today. They don't deserve to go to Wembley on that. But, I mean, they'll be kicking themselves because they had a chance there today, and they probably thought they would have had the chance. I thought, even first half, and then second half, they had that 15-minute spell where they looked dangerous. Mitrovic came into his own, but we've seen the good and the bad of Mitrovic. We've seen the hot head, which we know he has got, putting hands on the referee. I'm guessing there was a load of verbal abuse going in there as well. Straight red card. You can't do that. Welcome to Old Trafford and the way refs are for them. Sometimes you get lucky. We've been on the wrong end of, I can't count how many bad referee performances there, but break it down. Deliberate handball, penalty. Yep, red card. Hands on the referee, verbally abusing, red card. It's the rules. It's Fulham's fault that they lost this game, in effect. Ten Hag had a part in changing it, but it's their fault they lost their head. When your manager is the first to get sent off in a melee that they had, then it sets a standard. It rolls out all over the pitch. Their coaches, you could see they were at it. You could see they were at the referee, and the referee, to be fair to him, I can't believe I'm saying it, had actually had some balls today. He called it as it should have been. He did it as it should have been. And you know what? Sometimes you've got to give him credit for what he's done there and his performance. The VAR was there to help him with the handball. The one decision that he should have had to make, Fulham gave him other decisions to make. It was their fault that they lost their heads. It's not the referee's fault. The one decision was made was right. It was deliberate handball, Willian red card, penalty. The ball was going in. It would have been a game changer anyway, I think, because I think that Anthony substitution was moving us in momentum factor, I think, ahead of Fulham and that. But look at it. How many games is this? We're nearly at 50 games for the season already. We only had that in the whole of last season. Shows you where we're at. Shows you how many games we have to cope with. Varane being injured today. Players looking a bit tired. Maguire, you know what I mean? It's not ideal. But we've got another win with Maguire at the back there. McTominay inexplicably cost us that goal with that poor kick, which gave them the corner, which led to the goal. He looked like he was carrying something from a battle with Mitrovic, whether he was winded. Looked like he was holding his ribs. I don't know what it was from where I was at, but that substitution, you still look at there and go, Ten Hag could have got lucky there. He had to bring McTominay off. But no, normal substitution would be like for like, Fred coming off. Ten Hag changed it tactically. He changed the shape. He dropped Bruno back into defensive midfield /8 with Sabitzer, pushing Weghorst in at 10, Rashford at 9, pace over the top, and then Anthony on the right hand side absolutely tore them a new one. They didn't know how to handle him. His tenacity was what we was missing. His bite, his anger, and he's snapping into every tackle. It's great. The only slight issue I've got is like Anthony off the bench, brilliant. Sancho off the bench, brilliant. Garnacho off the bench, brilliant. We want 90-minute performances from these players. We're taking what we've got. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You can play bad, you can say we were lucky, but one thing that this team has got is a never say die attitude. We earned that win, and it just goes to show, don't give man of the match until the game is done. It was brilliant that Bruno went through and smashed in that second, because his involvement in changing that game will go under the radar. The highlights are going to be all around the red card and that 5-minute absolute losing the plot moment from Fulham. But Bruno's ball to Anthony, which set up that moment where we got the penalty. Bruno's nerves of steel after 7 minutes of trying to deal with that VAR incident in the corner. Then Bruno again, last minute, through he goes, game done and dusted. Shout out to this one, I don't think anyone's realised it yet, but that's 4 FA Cup games and 4 3-1 wins for United. There's a stat for you. I'd be interested if we can carry that on. But yeah, I think that was our 14th or 16th home cup game of the season. We're absolutely tearing it up in the cups. And again, more money for the Glazers, everyone's off to Wembley. We don't care. If my bank account's being ripped to bits because United are doing well, I'd take that all day long. But yeah, I'm just happy that we've got into international break on the positive now. We could have gone in there after that 7-0 defeat to Liverpool on a bad one. Well, look what happened after that. 4 games, Betis win, Fulham win here and we got done by the referee in the Southampton game. That's what you call reacting and recovering, like we've always done. Now we move on. Massive game when we come back from international break against Newcastle away. I think that win there pretty much confirms top 4, and that puts that to bed. Luckily, we'll have Casemiro and these players back for the semi-final as well now. So, yes, we're in a good place. Yes, I'm happy we've got this break. And yes, I'm happy we've got 2 weeks now with players like Martial, Varane, to have a break and get back into this team fresh when it comes to that kick-off again against Newcastle at St James's. Let me know what you think, people. Drop your comments in below. Pretty mental 5 minutes, which one of that came there, but it's what it is. We've been on the other end of it at plenty of times this season. It's our turn today. Cheers for watching, everyone. Like, share, subscribe.